that's probably a good point to stop on.
Oh, I beat Romero in a comp game the other fucking day.
Give me a second. Fine shit is calling.
But
We can wait.
He's talking about his mother.
Nah, that was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We have to make a decision on what we're doing. If we're trying to like shoot him out before we walk, or if we're just gonna walk. But as it stands, we kind of have people walking, and we have people like looking back. I mean, I don't know. Are we standing in spawn because we're afraid of the whatever hit?
The ball.
yeah,
Or the Sombra.
I can't remember exactly. I'd have
This
to
is like
see
first
my
fight. This is 15
POV.
seconds in.
Can you go to my POV? I think we're... Yeah, ball. I'm waiting a second. Yeah.
That's fine. But that's kind of what I'm talking about, is that we're not like, I don't know. Some of us are like just kind of, I don't know. I'm gonna keep watching the board. Let's see. I already looked at it one time, but it's like, yeah, I'll play it from their perspective.
I mean, we're a slow
Or
car
for their
with the
perspective,
hog,
anyways.
cast,
No, I know. We do have the speed, but it's not so much that there's like a right or a wrong answer. It's just the wrong answer is like everybody just kind of doing their own thing, or having like even just one person like doing their own thing is like can be really detrimental for us. The only person that is like allowed to go off on their own is going to be like RGB, and even then probably like we should speed and then go join RGB, or like go with RGB and then like come back and speed if we were gonna do that. But like we're pulling like resources through the choke, but like this is the important thing. Like they're kind of all like looking through the choke waiting. I don't know where her arrow is, but like she's doing the same thing. Like they're all just like waiting for a hit to happen here to spam through it. And like if we had like yeah, if we had played for this to shoot the ball out, like maybe he dies. I don't even know why they back up, to be honest. That was however long that was that we just like stood there just getting hit by the ball and spammed over and over again. And they seemingly like they backed up for no reason. I guess he feels like he's weak because he doesn't have armor. And that's why they back up. I guess. Yeah, and that gives you a chance to get through and flip. But now we're just kind of doing the same. This is a little bit better for us because some of them like aren't willing to peek through the door. So this does actually like split them a little bit. And give us a chance to, yeah, to do that. Kill this guy. See that? The other thing too is that like now that there's like less things for us to pay attention to, it's like naturally we're just gonna look at the only thing that's next to us, which is the she DC, is that what that is? Oh, she got killed by RGB.
Yeah.
But anyway, like it's just personally, I think that's kind of the safer option, is like you can run through the choke to like make them hit where they weren't necessarily planning on hitting. They might not be saying to themselves like he's probably like sitting up here and like I'm gonna look to hit when they appear here. And if we just like immediately like sprint across and come up here, then like maybe he hits here and he's like they're not as prepared for this. That probably doesn't matter so much. But if they then like wait to hit until you come here, it kind of like it slows their tempo down. But the bigger thing is just like looking at the ball and making him go away rather than just like letting him do whatever. Because if you just let him do whatever and only like 2 of us turn and look, then that means that like 3 of us are potentially fighting 4v3. So it's just very important for us to be on the same page. Do we have any questions about like the difference between this fight and the fight over here?
Or do you have any thoughts about it?
It seems like we were more on the same page with the second fight than with the first fight. Because we all rotated through hotel and like flipped the map.
Yeah.
I think my angle was too greedy and did not work with what we were doing.
Oh,
I
that's
think
right here where you're
I
up on top.
should've gone around the right side or something. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like
I think this is fine. If you go back in here and kill yourself, that's where you greed. If you just read and you go back in immediately again, then you're greeting. But like, and I already mentioned that like I don't know if you were there for that when I was talking about this over here. Is like the only person that like is really allowed to go off on their own is you, because like you, the second that like damage is coming through, like in most instances you should know, unless you're getting, I mean I guess you one shot by Widow is like the only thing where like that's your reaction time is like you see her on your screen and you guess that she shoots you. But everybody else is gonna be like you have like there's like a window of a second for you to be able to press E and live and then like go reset yourself. But everyone else is like we don't really have that option. If we isolate ourselves, it's like I guess Lucio can like wall right away, but everyone else should get punished for being isolated. But I think this is fine. We flip the map and you come from behind them. Yeah, like I think it's fine. But yeah, like I said, if you go back in here and kill yourself, then it's not good. But we just kind of we gotta like
sketchy.
the Kyrie has been sent back to spawn and the ball is dead. So this is like we have the period of time where what happened to her? Did you kill her? You killed her, right?
I don't.
She DC'd. Yeah, she DC'd because
remember.
there's
I think she
the old
DC'd.
church.
I think I.
So I mean we should know about that. I suppose somebody should be pressing tab to see that the Kyrie is or not even pressing tab, see it in the thing. Not super important, but this guy, once the ball dies, like we have the period of time of like once he's dead, like the 10 seconds here for him to respawn where we can kind of like figure out what we're doing. Obviously you don't want to like wait until he's respawned because the time for him to like respawn and then fireball out of spawn and get back is like, it's not like he's like Anna where he's like I wait 10 seconds to respawn and then I have to walk back for 10 seconds. Like he'll be back. But you have that time to kind of like slow down and consider what you're doing next. Yeah, I mean, all right. Anything else about that? About do we have any more thoughts on flipping the map like this instead of just standing at the choke getting, slammed over and over?
I think we have a hard time. I know I have a hard time recognizing like when we can walk or like how to get.
Sometimes you just have to walk. I will say that. Like sometimes walking
it's
is
hard
like
to get
the
everyone on the same page because
yeah.
Sometimes it's like, well, I think I'm gonna die if I do, and
yeah. And what I will say is, like just saying like okay, like when we we're gonna go to this choke and like walk somewhere is like not great. But like if we said like we're gonna go like stage up on top of theater and then like speed from this corner, like we're just gonna like stack right here and then just speed around the corner and go up high ground, like that's a lot better than like anytime that you like stack on safe, quote unquote safely on a corner, which is gonna be like determined by what their comp is, right? Like Sombra can be anywhere, so you're never like truly safe, but not receiving poke, not taking damage from the majority of their team was what I would define safe as. Like wherever you can like stack to do that and then speed somewhere, right? So if we wanted to go to the left, then we would like stack right here, and then 3, 2, 1 speed around the corner and get as far as we can. Or you could stop in here, whatever. But that is really important. Like stacking before you speed is like really important for getting everybody to. That is what prevents or will cut down on like okay, we're gonna like speed through the choke and go this way, and then like by the time that like 3 of us are right here, then we've got like one person like here and one person like still at the choke, lingering. That's how you like, when we don't stack before we speed is how you end up with people caught out. And then it's like, well, why do but yeah, sometimes you do just need to speed. In this particular instance, I think you have two options. One is that you speed to make them do something like I was talking about, or like you shoot the ball out, like make the ball leave, and then that's your opening to speed. It's like do not like attempt to save your amp, to be able to walk, right? When you need to speed, then like you can dump a lot more to like get him to go away. That way, you can come like establish yourselves up here, or speed across and take the inside here, or like you did go across like this. And I only rewound it because I wanted to see exactly why he backed up, because that was the opening. I don't know if we recognized that or not, but like that was him backing up to heal to like kind of give himself a second to breathe, was like when we walked, which is completely fine. But you can achieve that by like, okay, we're gonna bait somebody, like he wants to be active, so like let him be active and then force him out, and then we go. Maybe is what happens. Yeah, so he used shields and he went down to like half HP. I don't, or maybe they like, I don't know. I'm confused by the thing that they did, because they were just like, they could have just kept doing this in my opinion over and over again. Uh, but yeah, like when he takes damage, right? Then we like we kind of group up a little bit and then we speed. But you see how this happens, right? I don't know who called the speed, but like we're not, you know, Tony's like already inside and Puff is like lagging behind a little bit. It's like, um,
That's why
and
I
like
say,
yeah, like you stopped the hit from coming through, but it's just, like we can avoid like having to use cooldowns or like having to reposition ourselves to to make up to compensate for something by like just stacking on a corner before we speed. Um, and like I said, like put damage on him. It's like it's not about killing him. It's about like making him use shields and like making it so that he has to go like wait before he gets to come back in, instead of just I roll around, like I pick up the health back and I go again when my grapple's on cooldown or off cooldown. We're getting like crazy split after that fight. I'll play it back in regular speed so that we can see a little better. So this little mini hit, I would almost like to see RGB and Chap like hitting together. So like when you're going into the window like that, it would be like way better if RGB was already like, I don't know, at the top of the stairs to be able to like blink and then be able to shoot, or like already waiting right here, right? It's like, yeah, it's pressure. It's not like necessarily bad because you also don't die, and Lucio cooldowns are like not at this point. They're not like they don't matter a lot because we're already like established. Um, it'd be nice to have ampules, but whatever. Uh, but still, same thing is like like this is we have this like core brawl poke type deal, and then we have the flankers if you choose to do that, right? It's kind of up to the Lucio if they want to be, um, like goalkeeping for Anna Cass, or helping with the flank. Hmm. I mean, what could we have done differently than what happened? Like, how can we change what happened right here?
Tony dying specifically, or like what
I mean, it
specifically?
could be anybody. Like it could have been anybody standing on the point getting slammed by ball and dying like that. There's a combo between Sombra and the ball slam.
I mean, for me, I did not want to be there, so I went to high ground. And I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure I called it, especially because RGB and Chap were gonna be there.
That's fair. Yeah. Now, your position is like, it's unfortunate because like you are, like you're playing your life, but there's like the double edged sword of like if you play your life to the point that like there's you're alive and no one else is alive, like did it really matter, right? It's like how many people are you gonna kill like to compensate that? So there are gonna be like instances where if your teammates don't listen to you, like you're gonna have to like call an audible and position yourself poorly to try to compensate for. And this goes for everyone. Like there will be times where a call was made and people do not hear it, or the better case is that somebody like counter calls, not in a bad way, but like somebody's like, I want to turtle here, and somebody else is like, we should play aggressive, and then it's like, all right, well, we're playing aggressive now, even though whether I like it or not, I'm gonna have to like play it to work with that. So you might have to like play for the fact that we're still standing on point. I would say that probably taking high ground is like far more important. It's like we gotta take, yeah, we are close to a second take, but like they're so quick. Like what the Echo is gonna be like the slowest thing on their team. It's like if you killed the Echo, then you might have more time to reset because that might mean that Lucio has to go back and like taxi the Echo. But everybody else on their team is gonna be like, you know, I walk up until I TP, I wall ride to get back. Like I grapple, I translocate. Like everyone else is like really fast. So you want to kind of keep that in mind. If they're on a different comp, they're on like a Rhine comp, then you might have time to get 2 ticks, and it probably wouldn't be punishing for you to play on the low ground. But in this particular instance, like you we're not controlling the high ground well enough to like stop them from taking these angles. Like yeah, RGB is like pressuring the Lu, and Chap is going to pressure the Kiri, but like it's still like we're losing out on those people participating like elsewhere. Like these are like the strongest people on their team. The DPS and the tank are like what's important. Like they're playing Lucio Kiri, so they're like if you go for their backline, you're punished for it. Like that's why Lucio Kiri has been strong since Overwatch 2 was released. Like so like you never go for the Kiri. Unless it's like the last person alive. I'm pretty sure I've said this before in talking about it. It's like if you want to get to the Kiri, the way that you get to Kiri is like you put pressure on someone else to make her make a mistake. Like if she eats the cleanse, like there's a chance that it doesn't hit, and then you still get to kill the person that you were fighting. And if she TPs and cleanses, then you can kill the Kiri now. So, but I'm going down a whatever. It's a tangent. Um,
No,
but
no,
I just say I think that standing on the point is like it's not super important. Like we have 3 people on the point, then maybe we get 2 ticks, but then now we're dead and we have to like come back in and fight for this last tick, and now we have to fight through the choke again, which we struggled to get through and like to begin with. So I would say almost it's way more important to just like leave the point and establish ourselves and then play for the point. Right. The only person that really should be on the point, in my opinion, is Mecha, because like or your tank in this particular instance. That might be different if we had a different tank. Like if we have a ball, we probably don't want ball to just like stand on the point, but probably want ball to be active. But like having Mecha on the point means that the Sombra and the ball hopefully then look at Mecha, and now we have people on the high ground, looking down on them, or pressuring these people out up top, so that it's like we have tank on point. Anna is like uncontested healing tank, and then we have the other 3 people like fighting out the high ground, right? And depending on like the sequence of events, you might end up in a situation where it's like you 3v1 this person on the corner, or you 3v2 these people, and then you kind of like fight your way through, and she's probably trying to heal whatever. Probably hopefully she's focused on healing if you're putting damage on people. um, do we have any other ideas on how we could solve that other than just we don't want to have squishy characters on low ground, like completely in the open against these people?
I did notice one thing at the start of this.
Yeah.
We really split hard. I mean, I wasn't playing, but 2 people split very hard, and it kind of just made us lose a fight. that felt like we were already getting stomped. Because 2 people died almost immediately, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's
And
all right. Like, and I've talked about this before about having neutrals, but it is at the end of the day, it is really hard to like, even if you saw them playing this particular comp on the last map for both points, 3 points maybe on the first King of the Hill, like it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to play this comp again. And so it's like it's hard for you to come up with like a fight plan without actually like seeing what they're on and where they're positioning. So I think like it's not ideal to split on the first fight and lose, but it's not that detrimental if we got information out of it and we like recovered.
Yeah, I'm just saying because there was a definitely a set plan. I remember to all stay main and walk main,
Yeah.
and 2 people proceeded to go upstairs and not play where their team wanted to.
All right, well let's see who's calling out.
I go
Good
up to
tone.
push up balls.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it was Tony.
It was me too. I went up there.
Defend objective A.
Because I knew where I knew where one of them was hiding up there. Maybe Tony does go up there and then I go back.
No, it was like Shep and Tone.
it's the next fight.
Now I know that.
And then we stay up here after saying that, all right, let's group main, walk together. And we're still fighting 2 different fights.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, a conversation needs to be had then, right? Because if we have one person saying the fight plan is like, I want to do this, and somebody else is like thinking to themselves like that isn't going to work, I want to do something else, then we need to like tell the other person this is what we're doing.
I don't think it's that. I just think I see people I want to shoot.
No,
Yeah, I mean,
think
it's probably that.
What it comes down to
Okay.
in team play, if their conversation is this is where we're staging, this is how we're going to engage, the team, unless discussed previously, needs to bend the knee to that topic and then go with the plan. Like it's very simple. Like for team play, you guys will organize your fights. You guys will decide where you want to rotate, where the hitbox is, where you're positioning. And the only time individual thought process should happen is mid fight because you guys have already engaged to wherever you need to go into whatever hitbox you need to have, and then mid fight is where there's a little bit of wiggle room to have individual thought process of like not only just like abilities or like potential target if somebody's just like used a cooldown and they're vulnerable, and then in that window of individual thought during the team fight, like the mid fight, that's when those things, like if you're doing an individual fight, it has to be vocalized, and that will alleviate a lot of the confusion and a lot of the disorganization. That makes sense, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What I'll say about it is that the most important reason why we don't want to have people going off and like doing their own thing is like, I mean, first of all, it can be very like it's rude to whoever is like called the fight plan, because it's like it's hard to as someone who has shot called, like it is hard to determine like if this person is ignoring me because they think they know better than me, or if they're like ignoring me because like they didn't hear it, I didn't provide that info at the right time. So it puts a lot of like pressure on the person making the plans, like especially if that person's the only person who is making plans. Like we want to try to avoid that. Like it's yeah, it can be rude if you're doing it because you're like, I don't agree with that, and then you just don't say anything, like that's fucked. But if we're if we're just not hearing it, like we need to be like speaking up when we're in this kind of position, right? We're talking after the map, we're talking in a VOD review, like that's where you can be like, just be honest, and you just be like, I didn't hear you, right? That helps the shot caller like vastly, because that means like in this particular instance, if Puff is the one coming up with the plan, if somebody's like, I just didn't hear you, then Puff can go back and be like, okay, well, like I need to come up with the fight plan sooner. I need to like have a more concise fight plan, right? Can troubleshoot on their end, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing too is that like regardless of the reasoning as to why we end up splitting like this, like if the plan is to do one thing and then we're doing something else, it's impossible for the shot caller to determine if the plan was bad, like and what went wrong with the plan. Like there's no like, if the takeaway now is like, well, if we tried to walk man and it didn't work, like completely, leaving out the fact that like we didn't actually do that, like then we should never walk main again because people went high ground instead, right? And then vice versa. If we go for this fight plan of like we're gonna stack main and we're gonna walk, right? And this is how it looks, and we determine that it doesn't work because this is how it looks. Then if the plan then becomes like, okay, we're gonna go walk high ground, and then people like some people, doesn't matter who, then split and go main on that next fight where we're like we're gonna go walk high ground, it's like that's where it's like really easy for us to be like, well, nothing works. We're like we're shooting ourselves in the foot, like not even realizing that's happening, and now we're like, well, nothing's gonna work. Very very easy to boom if we're just like doing this. So we really want to like nip this in the bud. And I will say that we have the same issue on dive. It doesn't look exactly the same, but we have a very similar issue on dive where like we'll have a plan and then people will like either execute the plan or like call an audible for themselves like before the plan even happens, and then same you can extrapolate to the same ending of like can't determine like where the plan fell apart, or just being like, well, maybe these people like they're just ignoring me because wherever, or like I don't know, I can't get people to listen to me, whatever. So just this is an issue that we have on multiple comps. And going back to what I was talking about when I was looking at the point after Tony got slammed and hacked, like you can make the argument of like, okay, well, if your teammates didn't hear you, then we need to like pivot, right? So like now it's like, okay, if Tony and Mecha are like walking high ground because they like they saw something, right? They're trying to chase the Sombra out, whatever. Like then that it does put the pressure on like Puff and Chap to kind of either like first to communicate better and yell at each other and be like, we're going main, or for somebody to bend the knee and like go high ground. But this is like an ongoing issue that we've been having where, and like I'm not saying that we're not trying, I'm not saying that there isn't progress, but this is like a reoccurring theme where people go and like try to do their own thing, and it's like whatever. I'm gonna play it forward a little bit just to see like exactly what happens. And it's like it creates like crazy splitting too. I played it forward like 3-5 seconds, and it's like we had two people on high ground, and then one of them jumped down, and two of us kind of like moved to join that, and like now one of us is dead, and it's like we have there's no space has been created doing this. So like very important for us to be specifically on this comp where we're all like relatively stationary characters to like be standing together. Doesn't really matter where we go, but like we need to go together somewhere. Like at this point we're just feeding the wall charge. Alright. How about that? Is this... Yeah. I just want to see how this fight breaks down.
Close your door, Tone.
I'm like, the plans don't need to be crazy complicated either. I could just be like, okay, like we want to clear the high ground. Like, how do we do that given the comp we're on? Okay, like we'll stack right here and then speed across this way to get up there. Or like, we want to flip the map. Okay, like stack on this corner and we're gonna speed through hotel. It doesn't need to be like insanely convoluted. Like, okay, like we're gonna like we're gonna stack right here, and then we're gonna half speed across to like bait him out, and then speed back so that he slams right here, and then we're gonna like hook him and sleep him and and kill him and fuck him up. Like that would be crazy if you guys can accomplish that, can like pull that off, read him like a book like that. But I'm not That's not realistic, I don't think. Realistic is like our comp does this, so we want to fight here. How do we get there? And like, you know, splitting is like the bane of like most comps. The only comp where you want to like end up splitting is going to be like dive. But even then, it's like you want to split so that you can end up hitting at the same time, right? You don't want to come from the same direction, given what comp you're on, right? Like if you have like a ball Genji, then you probably want your Genji to like position like close to where your ball is going to end up hitting and not be hitting like through your ball. And you can even see that with the Sombra ball, even with the Sombra being like faster, right? It's like I don't know if they're necessarily communicating this or that they just have synergy like that. They just played long enough together. But the Sombra is like, you know, the Sombra goes to point, and like by the time that the Sombra starts hacking and virusing Tony, the ball is already coming through and slamming. You know, so it doesn't have to be like right on top of each other, but you also don't want it to be where like the Sombra goes in, dumps cooldowns, gets forced out, and then the ball comes in, or vice versa. And then we're just kind of like, you know, because some of us like had one idea and others had another idea. Now we're just like, it's just a uber staggered fight, and we do manage to get 2 ticks off of it, but like we should not get a 3rd tick. All right, that's crazy.
No, my mic was still on.
Yeah. So you guys got lucky with that. That wasn't like even if that was, you know, oh, we clutched up. It's like it didn't have to be like that, right? That all, you know, you like that whole fight happened because we had some people wanted to stand on point and some people wanted to play safe / play for the high ground. And it's like, again, as a support player, I'm like, I want to, you know, take the safe approach. But it's not necessarily like the right answer. Like you can play on the point and just like, you know, argue that that's the aggressive play. But we all need to do it. Like we all have to play for it. Not that we all have to stand on point, but like if we're gonna have people standing on point, then we probably want our like Anna to be like tucked in over here, right? Or like tucked in on this corner maybe. We want to be like playing for the same space, right? So if we have some people going high ground that can't really help on point, then it's, you know, this happens. Does anybody have any thoughts on that whole scrappy fight?
It's hard because I feel like a lot is just we gotta agree on something.
Yeah.
You got to listen and agree, whether it's.
I mean, we don't even have to agree. We just have to.
Knowing,
We do have to like be on the same page. Like
agree
even if
agree on the part of like going. So it's like, let's do this. Tony or Mecca or like someone who or Arjun, like someone who can see says like, no, let's do this. Like, no, this is better. Okay, then let's do it. You know, or whatever.
yeah.
But I don't know.
And to be fair, I don't think that we're sitting there. There's probably I'm guessing that there are times where it's like something is called and people see something and like rather than communicate it, they just go for something instead of the fight plan. But I think in most cases it's like we're not even necessarily like hearing the plan. We're like so focused on what we're doing that you don't even hear it. We're just kind of going through the motions of playing the game, and it's like that is something that works in ranked, but like you get into an organized setting, and it's the second that like people start splitting, like that's probably what happened there on first is the Sombra came back to like see, you know, what's up, or they already had somebody, you know, like the Echo maybe looking down on the point being like, well, the Cass and the Roadhog are just like standing there. And then they just like they played for that. They were like, oh yeah, the Cass is just like isolated on the point. And not even isolated, just the Cass is on the point, like, you know, and pinged him. And then they just like crunched that. They're like, yeah, Cass is immobile, like he'll die when we use our cooldowns on him. So that's where it's like very important for us to be, you know, on the same page. It's like, and we can even, our game plans can even revolve around the fact that like people are doing that, right? Like we can pivot that. It's like, you know, oh, Tony's like standing on the point. It's not great. But like they're like, you can assume like, okay, Tony's standing there. So like the, you know, Sombra is like gonna hack him and then the ball's gonna slam him. It's like, what are we gonna do about that? You know, like it can even be as simple as like, I'm gonna nano Tony like the second that he gets crunched. Right. Um, but yeah, the agreeing on things. It's not even necessarily that we have to agree on it. It's just like it's a terrible plan if we don't all do it. You know, it might be, you know, a bad plan, or like not even, it might be like a terrible idea, but like if we don't all commit to it, then it's like absolutely going to, you know, result in a loss. Compared to like if it's a terrible plan and we all go with it, like it might work out. It might unironically work out. Like if our plan is like we're all just gonna stand on the point, like that's probably better than like, you know, a we split. Even if it's like not great, because it's like if we all just stand on the point, then they get all the space on the high ground. They get like, you know, they can take angles around us, like all these things that like do not favor our comp, right? If we all have to like be turning around for various things, like I don't know, we gotta figure that out. And in the next scrim that I can attend, I will be paying attention to that, and I will call that out like in the scrim, to try to alleviate that, help us work on that. But yeah, I've been seeing that like repeat itself, and really heavily in the dive. Uh, did we play dive on any of the maps? Did we play dive on Lijiang?
Yeah.
Kind of. Not really, but kind of.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna continue to
dude,
play
we
through the
picked
map.
characters, yeah.
We played Diva. That was about it.
Cause what this is gonna result in like we push it like to here maybe, and then it stops.
No, we pushed it all the way to the end.
Push it all the way to the end,
Yeah.
and then get held
Because
somewhere.
their got
Yeah.
disconnected.
No, they.
No, this
oh,
is a
they-
different. Yeah, this is a different map.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the one that I wasn't at because I had a
They
scrim.
had a little hiccup like earlier, but they stuck around for the rest of the match. Like it was.
Yeah, okay, that was 2 weeks ago, I guess. Yeah.
That one was 2 weeks ago. This one was
Okay.
a couple days ago. Yeah. This one was 50-50.
Okay. So I know it's a team VOD, but I will just this is just something that I had to go through on old Quets, is like me wanting to play in a particular position, and I still go through this sometimes. Wanting to play in a particular position because I'm like, it's like, you know, like it's gonna be safe for me, which means that it's gonna be better for everyone. Like if I'm uncontested as Ana, like that's the strongest Ana position is uncontested. But like that's not always gonna be, you know, you're fighting against like people wanting to push up. So like going up here, you saw what happened. Like you went up there because you want to take a, I don't know if you want to take a safe position, relatively safe / aggressive position for yourself, or if you want to play aggressively with everyone. But you go up here and then you kind of get forced down. I think what the Sombra shows up, so you drop down. Then you're getting pressured by the Echo. Like it's gonna be easier for you to just stay on the low ground. This map is like, it makes it really easy for you to walk on low ground and make it hard for the ball to hit you. By either like, you know, like as long as you just stay close to these doors, like it'll be a lot easier for you, right? Like if you tuck in here, like it's gonna be really difficult for him to get a slam off. Like it's doable, I think, if he were to like jump up on this thing, or like roll against the walls, like maybe he can get a slam inside here. But it's gonna be hard for him to pull off. And even if like once he does, like he's not gonna be able to just like yeet away. So whatever, playing in you know, in a place with a ceiling is gonna make it really hard for him. And going up here like isolates you from your teammates, right? So I would just try to stay like close to your Roadhog and your cast, and like inside small rooms. But at the same time too, it's gonna be, you know, it's the onus is also on the cast and the Roadhog to kind of be like, you know, what is like the space that I'm holding behind myself. You know, you don't want to get like too far ahead, right? Because we get like strung out. You know, Shap is even, I think Shap even came up to try to help, which means that now we're like not pushing the cart. So like, it's not just about like, you know, where does like how does our positioning impact us? It's like how does our positioning impact our teammates too? And like, right, like we take like hella, right? You want to go up here. I don't know what your reasoning is for going up here. It doesn't matter. But like right, like Mecha wants to you know, push the whatever, like we want to be aggressive, right? See what else we can get, see what space we can occupy, and then we take like hella damage because our Ana isn't healing us anymore, so we back up. Now we give up all the space, like, and it's like we all like try to take positioning to like hold aggressively, and as a result we've like given up like a shit ton of space, right? For many reasons. One is that like, you know, we're not getting healed, so then we back up, and then like we're taking so much damage that our, you know, our cart presence like feels like they have to come up to help, so we even like stop pushing the cart too. And I didn't even play it forward to see if people die either. Like, and I really important, like I want us to recognize that like the Echo didn't die there because like we, you know, like if there was a discussion before we got to like this corner, even as we were like speeding forward as a group, a discussion of like, okay, like push forward as far as you can to where you start taking damage, and then once you start taking damage, back up and we'll regroup right here and they'll feed for that. Like, fair enough. But you guys absolutely did not have that conversation. Like, that is never anyone's fight plan. Like, so like they just fed into you. Like, they tried to punish a mistake that you guys were making, and they therefore made a bigger mistake. So it can't, like, we, you know, ended up on top of that. I want us to know, like, to understand that that is what happened. Like, it wasn't, even if it was, oh wow, we hit our shots, like that is not, I don't think that's something to pat yourselves on the back on. Like, something to pat ourselves on the back on is like being like, we want to take these positions so that the ball, like, you know, feeds to right here, and when he feeds right here, we're going to use cooldowns on him and kill him. That is, if you say that before anything happens and then it happens and you kill the ball, like that is something to be proud of. Like, if you, you know, if you played the, you know, the chess match and you're like, yeah, like we castled and they fucked themselves, like that is, yeah, you should be proud of that. But that's not what happened there. This is just scrappy. Like, this has been scrappy since Tony died on first. And we're still scrapping, and just, you know, like we're leaning on that, you know, the hitting shots, which is like, you're gonna have to do that. Like, don't get me wrong, you're gonna have to do that. I know that I've talked about like, you know, you don't want to rely on hitting shots, but it always comes back to like, I want us to be able to say like, you know, we're relying on our like positioning, like to have fights happen in a predictable manner, like, and then if something, you know, they hit more shots than we expect them to hit, or, you know, they use more ults or whatever, something happened that was like unpredictable, then hopefully we can still, you know, fall back on hitting shots. But I don't want us to like, for that to be like our win condition is like, I hope Tony hits his shots. I hope we get a hook on somebody. I hope, you know, the pulse bomb lands. Like, that is not, you know, like a fight, like a solid fight plan, in my opinion, is like, we're gonna like pulse bomb so that they, I don't know, like pulse bomb so that they get cleanse out so that we can get like a free hook or whatever, a free anti, right? Rather than like, you know, we're gonna stick the Lucio and he's gonna beat or he's gonna die. Like, that is our fight plan. Like, that is, it's not great, right? Because like, are we really gonna stick this guy? But I will continue to, you know, it's still scrappy, right? And to be fair, like, it is, because it's scrappy, they're not getting a chance to like have a fight plan. Like they just keep taking these scrappy fights, which is even resulting in like this rush. Like this is absurd. But you know, like again, just going back to the whole like we want to have a fight plan that results in her panicking and doing this rather than just it's been scrappy for like a minute, 2 minutes, and she's doing this. Like you're not making her do this. Like she's just panicking. Yeah. And now they'll get a chance to kind of slow down and hopefully stop being scrappy. Still scrapping it out, but that was I want to see that actually in slow. Again, we got our Luan cart, and like it's really hard for Anna to like play safe here. Like this is like as safe as it gets, and like we're just we just like push up and this is where we slow it down and like and take a breath, and we're like how do we want to approach this next fight, right? Because like most of them are either like respawning, like they're relatively stable, so we want to kind of like stable ourselves and say like what's gonna happen in this next fight, right? Rather than just like continuing to press into this. Like it's just been scrappy for, like I said, since first. So like that being said, I will play it to like here and then go like this. Like how do we want to approach this next fight given where they are, right? Like this is what we know about. We see the Lu, we maybe see the wall, and like RGB can come up and give us info on the Ana. It's like what do we want to do in this next fight? I also will say now too, and this is true for like majority of hybrid and payload maps, is that like when you get to third, you end up with this like cornery nonsense where like the defenders are favored. Like it basically comes down to like they come and pick off this corner, so they have a long lane, or we're stable on this corner and we're looking down a long lane. But like they're almost more favored for it because of all the cover that's here. I don't know if I'm not doing a good job of explaining this, but like they have a much easier time looking down the long lane at us than we do looking down the long lane at them, right? Because we either end up fighting off of this corner, which doesn't really give us a lot of space to work with, or taking angles like around this corner. But we still need to have someone on cart too, so it's like they get to have 5 people occupying this space, even if we're staring down that lane, where we only have like 4 people looking down this. Realistically, only 3, because we're gonna have if it's a support pushing the cart, then that means that we only have 1 support up to heal us. So then, you only have 3 sources of damage realistically. So like how do we want to approach that, given that we're like there in the stronger position until the cart comes up, right? Once the cart gets to like here, then it's neutral, right? The cart is going to block off a lot of is going to act as cover and healing for us. So I guess the better question would be like, how do we want to approach this to get the cart up without losing space for it? Let's see why Tony does.
I'd say to like play it how you said, take a little bit of damage and then walk back. Can you turn around to the cart to see? Okay, never mind. I know where it's at.
Yeah, it's far. Yeah, it's far.
Yeah, make a little space by get us around the corner by taking damage at their corner, walking back.
Yeah, and you can have other people push the cart. Like, I mean, you're not. I don't think you're gonna have your Roadhog or your Cast push the cart, but the only time that would be the case is if you just decided that you wanted to have everyone on cart, which is not necessarily a bad idea into what they've got. Because
Yeah.
the ball is gonna have to like overextend to get to you guys. So it's like until the cart comes to like here, probably here is like the worst spot for it. If the cart gets to here and we're all standing on cart, then you know if he slams, it's like it's a relatively free nade for them now. And it's a little harder to like punish him, right? But like
Eat the nade route and
before
pass the
this
ball.
or after the turn, it acts as cover, and it's like yeah, and then we get to kind of, you know, like when he slams, that's a big opportunity for us to sleep slash hinder slash hook. Like we can punish that pretty easily, or just force him out, and then that would be an opportunity for you to take space. But I think it's very important for us to get the card up before we like really try to do anything. So realistically, like we want to play our
Could we
lives.
have just paused?
Huh?
Could we have just paused on cart after we capped for a second and let it come to the corner?
Yeah, I mean, there's downsides to that.
As a team?
There's downsides to that because if their Anna wants to come up to like here, then if we decide to do that, everyone backs up to stand on the cart. Their Anna gets to come up to here or like over here even, and they get to take space off that. So there are downsides to it, obviously, right?
Gotcha.
But most of the space, in my opinion, most of the space that we're gonna like, exert, like the pressure that we're gonna exert, is not gonna be from like walking up and standing there. It's gonna be from like whatever our damage can touch. Compared to the comp that they have, which is like they want to have their backline, specifically the Anna, in a position where they get to like fight over the slam and the Ash, right? So they're more like their ball wants to get in a position where he gets to like slam something and their long range damage can still touch it and their flankers can follow it, right? And to be fair, the Sombra is respawning right now, so it's like they are -1, so there's an argument to be made of like, well, they're down, so like we should push. But I do think that's like a fallacy where it's like they're favored here. Like name a time where you played King's Row and you were like steamrolling and like into third and you got killed, and so then you just get held for like 4 minutes. Like that it happens like 90% of the time on King's Row. It's very rare that like you win coming into this and then like you don't lose a fight pushing all the rest of the way, right? Realistically, you're gonna have to win like 2, potentially 3 fights depending on how long it took for you to like kill them. If they end up getting like if their deaths are staggered, then you probably fight 2 fights. But like if you kill them all at once, then it's gonna be like 3, potentially even 4 fights if they get a third like staggered fight on the point. So that's where it's like it's very important to, in my opinion, to like conceptualize the game, not just the I click heads, and not even like the cooldown trades. It's like the considering the space that is occupied by both teams, right? We don't want to like play into this when we're down, and like it's very easy for them to we come hold this corner, like what's preventing the Anna from just like playing like this and then like peeking out and dumping a nade on Hog, and like either that forces our Hog back, like forces our Hog to play safe because he gets naded and then takes like half damage, has to wait for purple to go away and then get healed up, and that pulls like vape resource, that pulls his attention because he's trying to play his life, and then that also like pulls your Anna's, the Anna wants to heal your Roadhog. Like it puts a lot of pressure on us to make the right decision compared to like if we just decide to do nothing, like then you're like removing that potential from happening. So I would say like the optimal approach in my opinion is to like not necessarily you all have to be on cart, but like you don't need to like do anything. You don't need to like do anything extra to get space here. It's like just exist right here and don't die and like let the cart come up. And then once the cart gets to here is when we can kind of start to like then our Anna will have the cart healing, which makes her health bar longer, and the cart like the physical cart for cover, so that then like our Roadhog can come start to like play in this position maybe, and our Anna would be able to be like on this corner a lot safer. But I will play it forward just so we can see exactly how Tony does. Slam tacked. Right. And like there's a way to recover this, but the way to recover this is that Puff hits every single shot right here and potentially nades you to like, you know, for the burst heal. You know, if Mecha's a little farther forwards, then maybe, you know, that makes Tony's health bar a little bit longer, gives Puff more chances to hit these shots. We see how these things happen. It's like we can just like not be aggressive. We don't need to be aggressive. And it doesn't put us in a position to like to make the correct decision, right? Of like, okay, like I need a body block for my cast. I need to, you know, I need to hit every single shot. Maybe I need to jump off cart and, you know, amp heal, which is like exactly what we're doing, right? We're trying to come forward to help. But we're just like, we're putting ourselves in this like unnecessary position to try to recover this like single mistake. And like really all we had to do is just like not put ourselves in this position to make the mistake to begin with, right? If he slant, if this play happens like over here, it's way easier for us to recover that, and it's far less likely that they even go for it, right? We're just so like overextended that they're like, well, we have to go for this, right? I will say if the pulse kills the Lu and the Trey, then it's like, you know, potentially recover that, but then we're just back to square one of like, okay, like we made a mistake, but it was recovered by mechanical skill. Like that is not all this game is. You if that's what you're going for, then like you should be playing like Valorant instead. Or CS:GO. Right? And same thing too. It's like, you know, we go for that pulse and like it doesn't even get anybody. And I don't think we even got beat out or anything. Like you know, so we can't rely on these skill shots to come through. And this is something important to note too. Just the like, yeah, we made a mistake, and it didn't go our way, but there's still like things that we can take away from that where we're like, you know, being positive about it. Even if it's just like they used the MP and they didn't need to use the MP there, right? Like we can be positive about that going into that next fight instead of getting like slumped and being like, you know, losing our momentum. Like, we won like however many fights that was to get us to here, and now we've like, you know, we made a mistake and now we lost a fight. You don't need to get boomed over that. It's like, you know, okay, like we lost a fight, but like they used EMP, like they're down EMP. They just swapped Ana, so they don't have Nano yet. Like, you know, they're close minds, they're close beat. They also swapped Echo, so they're, you know, they don't have this yet. Like, so they only have 2 ults coming into this next fight. Like, and we have, you know, we have beat, we have high noon, like, and we're close Nano. Like, I know it's like we're not like we don't have Nano yet, but like 60% Nano is like close Nano. That's like a, you know, you throw buff nade on Roadhog after you're taking a bunch of damage, and like you basically got Nano. So we can still like, you know, come away from this being like, okay, like not ideal, you know. Now there's 2 minutes left on third, and like this is where, you know, you get held for 4 minutes, but like we're still up on ults, and they just use ults for like no reason, which means that they're like panicking, right? Potentially. Doesn't necessarily mean that they are panicking. Maybe they're just, you know, not considering the, you know, the state of the board, but whatever. The main takeaway here is, and we'll see how it plays out, but just, you know, moving the card up here is like so important. Like at no other point on the map is like as important. Like, yeah, getting the cart to go through the choke, right? Because if you get held here with the choke, or with the cart in the choke, this becomes really bad. So like you probably want to get it through here without taking a fight right here. But like at no other point along second does it really matter where the cart stops. So it's like you can come off the cart, but like for third, we want to move the cart up. The cart is like actually a very integral part of fighting for third, right? Because it's like there's nothing stopping them from just like taking the positions around this and just like never letting us get close to them. Like if they were so inclined, they could be like, we're just gonna let them like, we're gonna let them overextend right here and just keep hitting them right here over and over and over again. Anyway, let's see what they end up doing. All right, we need to like force the ball out sooner. This is scrappy, and we basically just got through because like the Ash lost to Tony. Like they focused way too much on our hog, and then Tony like hit headshots and killed things, and that was what got us through this. Like there's ways to like make it not go well for them without like relying on that. Not even saying that we're necessarily relying on it. Like we might just be like, you know, like just going through the motions at this point. Like we're like you know, hopefully we win. Like, you know, we'll see what happens. Whatever. Um like we want to take it like step by step. So like when we're fighting back in here, recognizing like, oh, the ball is like playing super far forward. That means that the Sombra is like close by. And yet like wherever you can see the Ash, like, you know, you can be like, okay, like if the Ash is like standing here, then you know they're all playing forwards. You don't necessarily know where the N is. Doesn't matter so much. I mean, I guess unless they were like, you know, flanking, like if the Anna like played here, we would you know, want to be adapt to that if we died to that once. But forcing the ball out there, I think is really important so that we all can kind of look forwards, like and look in the same spot. Before we got to like this point, it was kind of very like, you know, people were like looking all over the place. You know, like we were fighting some people up in here. Tony walked forward, was fighting people over here. I didn't see what RGB was doing, but like Shap and Puff were then like trying to decide who to, you know, who to heal, who to stand near. And like if you force the ball out, then that means that we're not, you know, we're not like being put in a position to again like make the correct decision about what we should be doing on our character because there's like less things going on. If the like the more you can get things like it, you know, narrowed in front of us, the easier it is for us to just be like, okay, like we're just gonna look forwards at, you know, like at this point when they're all coming out of this door, it's like there's no debate on this. It's like we're all looking here, you know, maybe one person is like, you know, checking over here every so often to be like, maybe somebody can come out over here. But like forcing the ball out will result in that at any point on the map will result in you being like, you know, we can look forwards now. Even if he, you know, you forced him out and he went like towards your side of the map, it's like, you know, he has to go get healed up. Like he's not gonna be back for like at least 3 seconds. So it's 3 seconds of us being able to look forwards and deal with something, maybe get something going. But I'm gonna, yeah, I'm just gonna see how this ends. It should be scrappy for them now too. Let him slam before you hook him, if you can. Same thing goes for the sleep dart. Like you wait until he hits the ground to sleep him. Don't try to trick shot. It's just more guaranteed. Just scrapping it out, and it like that's not necessarily a bad thing. But we want to try to avoid that as best we can, right? There's gonna like fights are gonna break down scrappy, right? We're gonna have a fight plan, and like even if we execute on it perfectly, you know, we might still lose people even after the fact, right? So if we're like, we're gonna bait the ball to slam here, and then we're gonna like execute him, like, and you do that, like there's still a chance that even if we then like walk up super measured, that like, you know, they one shot somebody, right? They land an aid and you get headshot by Ash, like somebody dies. That fight will still, you know, break down scrappy, but we don't want the fight to just start scrappy, right? Are there any questions about the third point there, or do we have any thoughts on it? It's fine if you don't. Like, don't feel like you you know, have to say something, but it would be nice if people did have stuff to say.
Team thoughts, opinions, especially to those who have not spoken in a while. We can only do so much for an active team bond if we're not going to be active, guys.
I don't really know what to add on that.
Puffles, you have added a lot. Puffles, you are not the person I'm speaking to. There's a lot
Yeah, that's
of the
fine.
team here who has not spoken, guys. We can only do so much as coaching staff if you guys aren't going to participate. Pleb, you can proceed.
Okay. Why more?
Sure. Give me
I'm sorry, y'all. My family is in my room, so give me a second.
You're good.
I don't know.
Did somebody ask for a Moira? Did Puff decide to play Moira on their own? Like,
Oh, I think we thought we were gonna play tighter. I can't
I thought you were
remember
picking it for
now.
the high ground control.
Yeah, you may want more maneuverability. Probably.
which is
Yeah,
fine.
I thought we were gonna stack on high ground and be able to hold it.
I just want us to, like, there's not necessarily, I mean, if we went like Lucio's in here, then I would be, saying to myself, you guys probably want to lose, but like in this particular lineup, it's important to know like what our comp is and what our like our strengths and weaknesses are for the comp, right? So like just understanding that like Moira does not, there is no poke coming through from this character, right? What Moira is strong at
Yeah.
is like being alive and like pumping out healing on multiple people at once, right? um so we want to like kind of play for that, and I would almost say that the better thing to do would be to stack, right? Like keeping in mind that like this Tony is like now only going to get, if you're standing here, you're only gonna get Lucio Aura, which is like, I don't know what it is, it's like 15 heals a second, I think, and like an orb potentially. So you're like not gonna get a lot of heal to like stand here and poke on this corner, right? If we all stood down here, like it would be a lot better. Or if we were all standing up on high ground, right? If we all stood up here, then Moira gets to just pump healing onto people. Maybe the better thing to do would be to like play for the brawl now that we have this Moira, right? It's we all stack up here, we let them in a little bit, and then we jump down on them, or we stand here and then we play out on them before they're ready to play to us. But I haven't really played it forward enough to really see. But I don't. If we're playing for, this is fine. Like if you're trying to play for survivability and you don't want to play Curie,
No,
then
I just
it
thought we
really,
were gonna stack harder and then we didn't. I think that was as deep as it went, to be honest. I think we thought they were gonna play ball
okay.
and we were gonna stack on the high ground. And then when they dove, bounce the orb in the little room.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I think it's really important then to, and I'll play it like just a little bit before the doors open, just so we can see, because we've got, like we've got people taking high ground.
Where is?
And this is,
Oh, up there.
yeah. I mean, we're
Everything's
playing
just
Trey. Like
blocking
that's,
it.
it's fine. Like I said at the beginning of this, like Trey can be wherever, as long as they're not dead. It's like and they're making people like, as long as you're not dead and they know that you're somewhere, like that's, you're getting value, the minimum value at least. But I just think that this really highlights our, whether this was communicated or not, it's still like, it's not just on Puff to communicate, hey, like I'm playing Moira, this is why I'm playing Moira, we should do this with the Moira. Like it's on the rest of you to also be like, hey, we have a Moira now, like what should we do with that? Right? Maybe standing on low ground away from my Moira, who's that, I'm gonna look around, I'm gonna look for my Moira. Oh, my Moira's standing on high ground. They cannot heal me down here. There's nothing they can do for me. Right? It's on everybody to kind of be like, what is our comp do? What are the strengths and weaknesses of our comp? And this is what I was talking about. Or I've said this a few times, I think, is the whole like it's not just on like one person to like adapt. It's on all of us, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that Tony now has to go play up on high ground because we have a Moira who's playing on high ground. Maybe it means that uh maybe our Moira should play on low ground, and like Tony should be aware of the fact that like, hey, we have a Moira. So I can't just like there's not as much poke coming out. There's not as much, Moira's gonna have to heal more people. We should play closer together. This is a bad example. I'm racking my brain over this. I think like a better example would be like if Shap had decided, so like let's say that we stayed Anna, right? And if Shap had decided like I'm gonna play like Alari, for example, then it doesn't necessarily mean that like Tony is in a bad position here, right? If we have a pylon on top, but at the same time, it's like it requires that Shap puts a pylon here for Tony. Other people are like, where is the pylon so that I can play for it or realize that I'm not gonna get healed by it. And then Tony realizing like, okay, like I'm the only one down here. I have pylon healing only, so it's like, I can only poke as long as I'm gonna get healed by pylon, right? So it's on everybody to kind of like move towards the middle ground of whatever our comp is, right? It's not just on one person. It's not just um like if we did have an Anna and we decided like, hey, like I'm gonna go as Anna, I'm gonna go stand like up in here and gank somebody on top, right? It's like it's on our Anna to say that I'm gonna do that, and then it's also on everybody else to kind of either hear that and be like, I need to position to play for that, or your Anna doesn't even say anything to you, and it's on you to kind of like try to be like, where's my support playing? Maybe you need to ask that. Maybe you need to look through the walls and see where your Anna is, and move to play for that, right? It's like we all have to kind of move towards each other. It's not just like nobody here is the main character, more or less, right? It's a team game, so we all have to like we're going to have to like bend the knee a little bit to play for each other. Um, like that has happened on Quets a lot, where it's like I'm trying to think of an example as of recently where that's been the case. I think we just kind of at this point, like most of the iterations of Quets has just been had crazy synergy. But like back in Overwatch 1, like we would mainly just play like Diva Monkey, and there would be times where it was like when I was on Anna, I would just be like on my own, and I would have to like figure out where I could be safe and still like help the dive. And on my front line to be like, okay, like, we're leaving our Anna out to dry. So it's like we either have to understand that we're not gonna get healed, or we have to like play in a position where we will get healed or play back. And that would result in fights where it was like uh Ben would come back as Diva to help peel for me, and other fights where I would just run away and my team would have to play their lives. Um, so it's like it goes both ways, where it's everybody kind of needs to you know like if Tony wants to play on low ground, we all want to be like, okay, well, Tony's gonna be on low ground, so we should just all come play low ground then. That's fine, but I think that the best thing to do is for us to be like, hey, like Tony, you're playing on low ground, and for Tony to be like, where's everybody at? I'm standing on low ground, and for us to kind of explain ourselves and be like, well, we know they have a ball, so we don't want to stand on low ground or whatever. This is a conversation that we need to have. And it doesn't need to, you don't need to like submit an essay. It's like, Tony, why are you standing on low ground? I'm standing on low ground so I can poke better. Ah, okay. Well, I'm standing on high ground so I don't get dove. Or Tony to be like, hey, I'm standing on low ground so I can poke. Where's my healing? And then everybody else will be like, well, we don't want to get dove. Right. And then once both of those opinions are presented, then you can kind of start to be like, okay, like what is the middle ground here? Right. Okay, like maybe Tony comes up and stands here. It's not going to let him poke as efficiently, because of sight lines, but like he's going to be safer and still be able to poke, and people are like still going to be able to heal him, but be able to be safe. It's a crazy T-pose. All right. That's enough of that. I'm gonna play this forward so we can see what happens.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I think I should just
Incoming.
drop.
Defend objective
I
A.
don't know.
I mean, like that's a big part of Overwatch, and I think that I will say that I think the 5v5 has kind of removed a degree of like having to think about shit from the game. There are just a lot because there's one less tank. There are a lot more instances where it's like, oh, well, I clicked on heads better than I clicked on heads, so GG's. So it's understandable. Like, I don't know how many of you played in Overwatch 1, but like, I'm gonna guess that some of you didn't start really playing in earnest until Overwatch 2. So it's like understandable if you guys are, like didn't develop that bone. But like we're trying to I'm trying to fix that. Yeah, I mean, like Tony even like looked up at high ground, and I don't know, I don't have comms for this, but like that, if that had been me, if I was like, oh, I thought we were gonna stand on low ground, and I turned around, my whole team's like on high ground, I'd be like, well, fuck. I guess I'm getting baited, or I'm not gonna. That's you're not gonna catch me getting baited. Like, I'm gonna do something about that.
Right now, me and RJ, we're looking at backline. Like I throw the orb, and we're kind of looking for it.
That's fine. Yeah, and like that's fine. It's just it is like, if you're flanking with RGB, then like who's healing the tank, right? Like Lucio, I explained that of like it's like 15 heals a second on base aura, or it's like 12. It's like negligible. Out damaged by like everything in the game except for like melee damage. Even I don't even know because I don't know what the refresh rate is on melee. Like, I don't know if you can melee every second or if it's like every 1.5 seconds or whatever it is. But like potentially Lucio Aura is like out damaged by melee damage. So like being considerate of that is like, your Roadhog only has Lucio Aura plus amp plus vape, right? So it's like a finite amount of healing to come through on your tank. And again, coming back to the the bending the knee is like, you either need to like break off you either need to go sooner so that then you can go back and heal your tank, or like our core needs to understand like our Moira is trying to to dive in, so like we can't just like stand here and eat poke. Like we have to play our cover. We have to be dynamic. And like, I mean, we'll see what happens. Like, this can be recovered because you do have a kill. You've killed the Zen. You're gonna kill the Ana. So like this is recoverable, right? You trade backline for your tank. Like there's a world where like you turn this around, and like yeah, it's rough, but like that can be a fight plan too. Is like we're gonna lose somebody to kill all of them. Like that's a valid fight plan. I think this is target focus. No, you actually like did a good job of we killed Ana and Zen for losing our Roadhog. This is where we kind of like really like say, okay, like now the Orisa has to die, right? Or like we need to like stable inside of theater or hotel or whatever this is. We need a stable, and then like we need to start killing people one by one. Because like they at the end of the day they are gonna be back quicker than we are, right? Like Mega is just coming back, Tony is just respawned, and like the spawns are like more or less the same OA, but like their supports are coming back at the same time that Mecha's coming back. So it's like they're coming back as a 4v4. We're kind of like split. Well, again, I'll just play it forward so you can see exactly what happens. We're devoting 2 people up top to fight the Freya, which is fair. I'm not a huge fan
While
of that.
we-
What?
yeah. No, it was just the dropping.
Oh, I may have dropped to help Tony, or just because the Orisa is there. That's fine. The thing that I don't like is that is Tony like egoing the tank, specifically the Orisa. Maybe a different tank, it would be a different story. But what is it? Let me play it back to like here. Like everything's like fine right here. This is where we want to get stable, right? We come up now. We have a sig. So again, the whole like, even if your teammates aren't saying to you like, you know, I'm on this, it's like we want to be like pressing tab every chance we get so that we can see like this is what they're on, this is what we're on. You know, even better is like being like the last time that I checked my scoreboard was like before the last fight and they had this much damage and now they have this much damage. So like, you know, I can extrapolate that they've got like 50% ult charge. They've got, you know, they're getting close to their ult, whatever, all these things. But like the, you know, the most important thing is pressing tab and being like, ah, okay, there's a question mark over the Freya. What are they? Maybe they're going dash. Maybe they're going back to echo, right? But even outside of that is like, you know, keeping tabs on what your team is on, right? So we don't run into these situations where it's like, I mean, this is gonna be the inverse, but like if we had been like Ryan and like Weaver, for example, right? And then Chap got killed and came back as Lucio to get back faster, and then Mecha goes into the next fight, assuming that like, you know, he'll get pulled, he'll get whatever, and plays off of that and dies, like that, it's on both of you for like either not communicating, hey, I'm not on Life Weaver anymore, you're not gonna get that from me, or you know, Mecha for not pressing tab and being like, I have a Lucio now instead of a Life Weaver, right? But this is gonna be the inverse where it's like, you know, not on Roadhog anymore. Now I have a Sig. Where is my Sig at so that I can go be cast behind a shield? So I can go be cast with, you know, 1000 HP, right? Which, to be fair, just unfortunate because I think we walked back on low ground to try to like get back to the fight as fast as possible, and then like the fight's over and now we're all staged on high ground. So now he's trying to regroup, and then, you know, experiencing the DPS perspective and tank perspective to a degree of the game, where it's like, you know, I see something, so I now, instead of doing whatever I was doing, now I'm trying to get whatever damage I can, whatever dopamine hit I can, like, literally what happened right there, right? I think he was walking high ground, and then started shooting at the Zen, and now he's like, you know, caught out. But this goes to 1 HP, gets into a position where he can get stable, right? And then gets up to like not even like about half HP, and then like immediately go. Let me see it back a little bit, because I think there was a spot where it was like, yeah, right here, gets put down to half HP. I don't remember if it was from the Zen or from the Orisa, and then like immediately goes back to try to challenge the Orisa at half HP, while the Orisa is like, I don't know what cooldowns the Orisa has. I think she's golding right now. But yeah, like we want to, that's not something that we need to be doing, like challenging people when we're already weak. Like we should just be, I would rather see us give up space, even if it's like space that we need to be occupying, if it means that we're like alive, right? Like rather see us fight for like from a suboptimal position when we're like all up than fighting from the strong position when we're weak. And then we just kind of keep fighting, and then we, you know, it's, yeah. So there's a cast for that. But like we do need to touch the point. Dropping is like something that needs to happen there. If anything, maybe we drop sooner, if we're talking about that, because they already have a tick. These are all like conversations that we can be having, and ideally we have them before the fight when we have a chance to have them. Is like they got 1 tick on that last fight. Like we want to play for the high ground, but like we're absolutely not going to let them get, you know, that last tick, right? Or like we want to go to the point before they get the second tick. I would say probably like let them get as much percentage as you can before you have to drop, just because of like the way that this is going to work, right? It's like if we drop to prevent the second tick, but then we die and lose, like you're not going to get another chance to fight this anyways. and you've already capped third too, so it's not something that matters. In overtime, this would be a different story, because it's like, you know, you might want to fight for as little percentage on the point as you can, right? So that would be like they have a tick. We want to drop like as soon as possible, as soon as they start getting percentage on the point, because we want to be in a position where like when we then fight back in, we only have to get like, you know, a tick and a half or whatever. But that's not what we're talking about. But dropping to match the tank is like, yeah, Sig Shield on high ground, but like the only person that really can use Sig Shield on high ground is going to be Cass, and Cass isn't even there, so yeah, probably drop. But once we drop, we want to like stable.
Objective lost.
It's just scrappy. Still just talking about the same thing of like, you know, we all kind of want to be aware of what's going on. That way, you know, everybody knows about this, and we can say to ourselves like, okay, like Tony's not gonna be able to get the high ground before they fight again, so maybe we just fight from this corner of the point, from the backside of hotel, and that would be a lot better. It's like, you know, then if we're stable behind there, even if Mecha gets antied, maybe that means that we can pump damage into the Orisa and force them back along this angle. And then, you know, Mecha's taking less sources of damage, and that anti doesn't mean as much.
Objective lost.
All right.
Stop the payload.
I can forgive the DPS brain as long as we eventually lose that. As long as we're working on not having that. But that is crazy. That is a crazy rollout from spawn, in my opinion, given that everyone is dead and they're capping the point like actively. Just I don't have my pin. I don't have it set up to do the pin. Well, here I'll change it. There
Oh,
we go. Okay.
there we go.
So this is Tony's. Tony's rotation was come out like this and then like walk like in front of them. I'm pretty sure. Compared to Mecha's rotation, which was like come out like this. Like, just look at the difference in distance. Even, and maybe I'm wrong about that. He walked through the building actually. Yeah, I got it. Because he's right there. Yeah, so it's like roughly that. But like, just look at the difference in distance for it. Given that like we should be regrouping. This should not even be a debate on us regrouping, because of like who is dead and when people died, right? And even if we're not, you know, saying like, even if people back here aren't looking through the wall, specifically supports, and being like, hey, like you're like fucking a mile ahead of everyone else, like Tony should be able to press tab and say like, you know, when people are respawning, like, okay, like they're, you know, my supports are getting late spawn. Like I'm not going to, if I go here, even if Mecha walked the same way as me, like it's just gonna be the two of us against potentially 4 of them, potentially 5 of them, if they all just walk forwards. But at the very least, 3 of them, right? So like, yeah, I just really want to. This is wild. We don't want to see
Does that make
this.
sense,
This is
Tom?
a crazy mistake. Well, he said his family was in his room, so he might not be able to talk, or hear.
Oh,
But I'm
okay.
still streaming it, so like.
No, I'm
you
here.
know,
I get it.
yeah. This is very easy. You're dead, and then they just get like the last corner on Kings for free, because we walked out of spawn the wrong way.
Yeah, ideally everybody's calming whether they have late spawn or bad spawn or however you want to say it, but it is everybody's individual prerogative and responsibility to press tab every so often to get a pulse check on what's going on, you know?
It is gonna, I will say that it is gonna go like, if we're talking about like who is like looking at tab the most, it's gonna be Shap, followed by Puff.
Yeah, I'm always begging people to regroup.
Yeah, and then
That's how it's happened.
like I would say like probably your tank is like third in line for that. And then DPS are like I want DPS to look at to press tab, but like the chance that you can't even see that, but the chance that DPS are like experiencing the game is like they are most likely to be experiencing the game. So like given any number of comps, the only time where that changes is like um if they're on something that's like very flanky. So if they have like Lu, Kiri, Trace, Umber Ball, then like maybe that's flipped around, and maybe it's like Shap and your tank are like need to look at press tab more often, and maybe Puff is like fighting for their life. But yeah, I would like to see everyone press tab. The people that are like it can be forgiven the most are going to be DPS. But the only reason that is true is if you're listening to the other people that are pressing tab. And even then, you're still gonna get chances to press tab, right? Like if you're dead, like you should be like holding tab, for the 10 seconds that you're respawning. You should be holding tab unless you're like uh spectating your teammates and like making callouts.
Apagando las luces.
We do call for regroups. I don't know if it's a mic diff, because I know 9 times out of 10 I'm saying it. But I don't know if it's... I think we have things in front of us and want to keep going. And we don't hard stop.
Well, we should be communicating that. If somebody is saying something and you are thinking to yourself like I want to do something that isn't that what is being said, then you need to be like actively communicating that. Even if you're just going to do it anyways, you need to be saying like I'm going to do this. That way your teammates can kind of like try to, adjust around it. Try to right. It's like if nothing's said, then it's very hard to like there's many things that, trickle down from that frustration and like people getting spread too thin trying to compensate for things, right? So even if you're just going to do it anyways, like which I don't think is the right thing to do, but like I would rather see us like hey, like we should back up and regroup here. I personally I think we should push right now, right? And you say that before you start pushing, that way we can kind of talk about it, rather than just immediately holding W and then being like I'm pushing anyways. um but I will say that I will forgive DPS players for seemingly not participating in comms because they are like actively experiencing the point and click adventure. But everybody else, it's like not as forgivable, uh, because like support players are like as support players, unless you're on like the dummy characters like Kiri and Lu, like in that particular matchup, uh, it's like I will not forgive it because that is like you should be playing the the chess match. That's kind of the whole thing. Like specifically if you're on like Anna and Lifeweaver, for example, like that is the whole thing. There is like Anna needs to stand in a particular position assuming that the fight's going to break down a certain way so that like they can participate in the fight, and Lifeweaver is like that, not so much to a degree, but like Lifeweaver needs to be very particular about like who am I pulling, like what am I using pedal for here, like that, whatever. I could easily break down a tangent on that, but it is like it's forgivable if DPS are like not actively participating in comms, assuming that you are like there's something on your screen. If there's nothing on your screen, you don't have an excuse for not having heard something. But at the same time, I don't know how long we went through that with Val of like even like hey Valerie, like we need you to do this thing or like whatever, and like him not hearing it and then being like, oh hey, look, I didn't hear you, like is it's a process. But we want to right now there's nothing happening, so we should be hearing what I'm saying and kind of taking it in a little bit and being like, okay, like I need to, you know, I need to participate in comms a little more, whether that's, you know, listening to the comms or, you know, actively like saying things that you see, you know, pressing tab and saying stuff, whatever. What we want to get talking and listening, right? It doesn't have to be like, I don't expect it to be perfect instantly, but you know, it's going to be hard to make progress until we're, you know, past that point of like, if people are saying to regroup here and Tony is like still doing that, then like that's, you know, there is no degree of like, hey Tony, like we need to regroup. Like it's, you know, it is on Tony at the end of the day to listen, or at the very least press tab and be like, my teammates are dead. I need to back up, or just turning around and being like, like only me and my tank respawned right here, so I need to back the fuck up. But it is what it is. Like that, this fight right here didn't even play a role really. There, you know, maybe if Tony hadn't rotated out like that, then he would have been back like more here at the start of that fight, and maybe this goes a little bit differently. But they did use ults, and we kind of traded back and forth. Not that big a deal. And then we're just, you know, we are stabling right now. We can maybe be stabling a little harder. Maybe we don't need to be poking and losing resources right now. Resources I'm talking about particularly are our shield broke. I don't know how long it takes for Sig Shield to regen, but it's not like, you know, you don't get it back instantly, even with that perk. So I don't know if we necessarily need to be losing that until, at the very least, Tone can be using it. And then at the same time too is like losing out on Moira resource, right? If we're healing like Sig before the fight, it's like we already have coal, so we don't need to be building coal. So at the end of the day, we're really just feeding, you know, these two people ult charge, the Sombra and the Orisa ult charge. And at the same time too is like any damage that we're doing to Orisa, potentially feeding Zen ult. So just things to consider is like, you don't always have to be doing something. Like stabling can be like we're gonna like stand on corners and like not play the game until all of us are ready to play the game. But I want to see more of this. So just nitpicking, and I don't know how much this matters, but just imagine that our fight plan is to break out with Cole, right? And we have full Sig Shield before we do that. Instead of like it, you know, it breaks the second that we put it down. I don't want to see that. Okay, so we've got like all of us are fighting the Orisa / the Sombra. I don't think we were really fighting the Freya yet. I think RGB was fighting the Sombra, and then everyone else is kind of moving around the Orisa. And the Chap, like we're going to go pressure the Ana. Well, which is like it's fine. I don't think we necessarily need the speed here to help with this. Like, yeah, heal aura would be nice. Or you could be helping RGB to pressure the height. But like keeping the Ana from poking means that the Orisa doesn't get healed by Ana, which is fine. But I didn't see exactly why we ended up dying. You took a double shot from Ana, I think, which put you down to beatable, or like wanting to beat. I don't know how you avoid that. Maybe you drop down. I'm not gonna worry about that too much. That's a like need to talk about redditing. Not that redditing is bad, but there's a way to properly, you know, run people down as Lucio. And like get value without killing them or killing yourself. Like, and it ends up being okay, because we do end up trading, right? You took the supports out of the fight there for long enough that like even though Puff got killed, we're able to, you know, trade back and forth over this because they're not getting healing from their backline. While we got healing up until the point Puff died. So like it ended up working out. It's just there are ways to like do that safer. And then this is where, where our backline is probably saying, hey, like, we're both dead and we're respawning, like, you need to stable. And we didn't die, but we maybe could have, like, stabled sooner. Like, their fight is done. We don't need to continue, like, pressing that and give them a chance to get a kill.
Into the eye.
Okay. I would rather see Shap flanking with the Trey than Moira. If we want to do that, then Shap needs to be on something that can heal the rest of us. It's gonna be really hard for us to like play safe but still like apply pressure with just a shield and Lucio Aura, if that makes sense. So I'd almost rather see, if we're gonna have this backline, see the Lucio like kind of speeding the Trey around. Unless we wanted to have something like, like a Kiri or an Alari maybe, to heal our core while you do that. It's just going to be really hard to, like, there's a way to make that work, but it's just going to be really tough on everybody. Let me see.
Just an FYI, pleb, the VOD will have to end max 10 p.m. So just
Yeah,
heads up on that. It's already been quite a while.
Yep. We need to be already going for that flank. You're turning around because you're worried about people taking damage. But if you're like trying to commit to this, like, you need to just do it. Two things will happen from that. One is that Tony Self won't be going back up, and hopefully he'll back up. We'll adjust to the fact that we're not getting healed. Or at the very least, like, they push up because they're like, well, they're weak, and then that gives us an opportunity sooner to go for this backline hit, or to go on this person. But these kills need to come through like before we lose our positioning. Their backline was able to participate in the fight like long enough uncontested before we started contesting them. So like we're already minus 2 people, and then they trank, and we're like, in my opinion, we're lucky that the Ana splits themselves away from the Zen, so they don't get the trank killing. They get the trank killing. Like, there's no chance that we turn this.
Team kill.
All right.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
And then they overextended, and we capitalized on them overextending, and then after we killed them, we overextended, and they capitalized on us overextending. Yeah, and then they have positioning now, and like Discord makes this really easy for them to.
It's pass into the iris.
Yeah. Yeah. Being stable, really important. Let me see. Got that wrong. YHTP2E. Alright. I don't know what I typed before.
Ready for battle.
Okay, perfect.
3, 2, 1. The objective is now.
Yeah. They hit like before we're even like staged to hit. And even at the same time, like it was just the ball hit, and then the Sombra like hacking our Doom and forcing our Doom to kind of like slow down. I don't. We'll see what the next fight looks like, but that's where
I think
we.
they just get set up and rolled us.
Yeah. But that's where it's like really got to make a decision of like, you know, once you see this one time, like now we know, okay, like they have a dive comp that like moves quicker than ours. Then we either have to decide like we're gonna bait somebody and dive back over that to make it so that the dives happen at the same time, or like we just have to send it from wherever we got to. But it's just like it's gonna be really tough. Like that's what like you can jump on the Lucio because we don't even have like we don't have hack, so we can't lock anyone down. It's gonna be like jump on Lucio, jump on ball, get lucky and punch Echo out of the air unless she's just standing on the low ground. Like you should never like catch the Kiri. Unless your plan is like I'm gonna, you know, force the Kiri to TP and chase her. Like you guys need to chase her. She's gonna TP to this person. Yeah, it's gonna be really hard to break out here. End up clearing height. Okay.
How do you get past this? Because every single time we play
That
this
was the
map,
play. You clear that, you clear height, and then you slow down and wait for your health. Like they're always gonna be healthier than us because the ball is just like has that much more health than Doom and can, you know, like he can have not a head hitbox all the time if he wants to, especially because we don't have anything to take him out of ball form, other than punching him, I guess. Like, so that's what I would say is like you come up here and you clear them off high ground, and then like we make sure that we're alive, and then now we have like something to fight out of, right? Fighting out of the low ground chokes is like really hard because like they don't want to fight in the low ground choke, but like we also it's really hard to fight out because they do just slam the second that we come out. So that's what I would say is like come out high ground, make sure high ground is secure, and like it'll be hard for them to hit on high ground. They have to use cooldowns to come up high ground instead of just they're like ready for you and then just use their cooldowns into you on low ground. It's a lot easier to avoid like getting the full hit if you're standing on height. But that we just slow down and like it makes it look crazy fast when it's, you know, 2 times, but we're still like we force the ball down and then like immediately go trying to chase things. This is where we kind of want to like slow down once he goes away and like make sure that we're healthy before we go back in. Not that Doom is like gonna do a lot to provide pressure there, but like, you know, it's another source of damage. It's like more hit points. It's, you know, like we can just slow down. You can take it like one step at a time. Secure, you know, something to fight from, and then make sure we're healthy, and then decide where we're going after that. And again, this comp is like tricky because they don't have anything that's like lockdownable. Like it's easier for them to lock us down than it is for us to lock them down. Only thing that is like that we can realistically lock down, as I said, is going to be Echo Lucio. Whereas because they have the Sombra and the Slam, like the coming down on top instead of like horizontal, like they can lock down like any one of us. The only one that's going to be hard to lock down really is going to be like Kiri. And even then, it's like, you know, if you're if
yeah, it
you
doesn't feel like
like they can just hack you.
yeah.
Yeah, like Moira would potentially be better here. Because she's tangible when she goes to hack you, so you'll have a much more consistent time, like tickling her with your right click when she goes to hack you to stop the hack from going through, and you'd be able to stop the hack on other people. But that's not like going Moira here does not solve the issue. It just helps it just helps you.
Meteor strike.
Apagando las luces. Overtime.
Area denied.
Alright, yeah, let's see this.
Ready
And then hope
for
that
battle.
it goes to, I don't know, let's see. Yeah, inside. This map kind of sucks for them. I would almost say Doom would work better here, actually.
3, 2, 1. Round.
Because now it's like, it's harder for him to slam, but it'd be easier to punch things. But like, D.Va is fair enough. The only thing that I would say here is that like, we're like, yeah, D.Va is like a dive character, air quotes, but like, you're like on like a full rush now. You're like the D.Va, like you want to not get overextended away from your backline, and more specifically is that you don't want to end up in a position where you're like looking one way and then like they have damage sources like all around your DM to just shoot you and everyone behind you. It's like you want to think of D.Va as like a Reinhardt that then like has a more consistent pin to like close distance. Would be how I would conceptualize it, is like you walk your backline forwards and like your DPS kind of like play in a position where they can like crunch into whatever we're gonna, you know, surge into. So we're really more on like a rush comp than a dive comp in this iteration, right? Like they are on a dive comp that can rush, like surge forwards on top of their dive, but the comp that we're on is like we want to surge forwards and then we have that extra little bit of dive to like cover distance, or get out. But like the thing that I see the most out of like D.Va is like so punished if you like just try to go to like one thing and the rest of the team is just like around you. It's like walk forward and take space until there's like, you know, an opportunity to surge on something, and ideally when we surge on something it's like we're all hitting it. He got so much shield off of that, holy shit. Yeah, again, I just we're just so split, and it's like I think we're just not realizing like what the strength of the comp that we're on is into what they're on. Like our comp is like weak to angles, and like we're still on characters that are like locked down, right? Like that their comp didn't change. They still have the Sombra to like lock us out of our movement abilities and extra lives. Like, and they have the ball that can just like he can just go anywhere, and it's like unless we all looked at him, like it's not punishable. Unless we're all looking at him and he's isolated from his healing, like he probably doesn't die. But the second that like any of us are like they're hard to lock down still. Like that didn't change. Echo is like we can lock Echo down more consistently because we have the D.Va now. But like Kiri can just like disappear. You know, the Lucio, like, you know, if he gets is in a good position, then he can just like skate away from us. Sombra can just disappear, ball can roll away. Like
Real quick,
yeah.
Can I ask, Mecca, what's your like POV and like thoughts with the D.Va, or just what you're thinking, or like what we're trying to do?
Mostly to eat, mostly to deny their DPS. That's kind of why I went D.Va. I can spot
How do
check
we
for the
go
Sombra
about
and
that?
then
Oh yeah.
eat the echo stickies.
But see, like as I pointed out, right, the second that you have like people like all around you, like that falls through the cracks, right? Like you've got the ball and the Sombra in front of you, sure, but like no one is here to help you. So like, what are you really doing? Like they're gonna kill you. It might take longer than if they were killing somebody else, but like it's, it's gonna be the same result, just slightly longer. So it just comes back to the whole like, we want to play this like more as like a rush comp, more brawly. I would almost rather see us like, we got the kill on the ball, like let's come anchor the point and we're all gonna like chill in white room, right? To make it easier for you to eat the, to match the echo wherever she tries to play from. You can DM like, whatever echo utility is coming through, and still potentially spy check for the Sombra, if she's coming through behind us. Like, it's going back to what I was talking about before of like, it's a two-way street of, like we don't want to be isolated as D.Va, but like at the same time we're isolated as D.Va because everybody else is deciding to like, fight over the, like to go fight them wherever they are, and it's like we don't really need to do that. Like their comp is like a lot more flexible. They're just gonna escape, so we kind of want to like play tighter together and like just live until a mistake is made, until they like force something too hard and they fuck up. Just keep forcing the ball and the Sombra out until somebody tries to do something. Which, yeah, I mean, they're gonna get percentage on the point. Like that's gonna happen if you lose the first point, like the point at first, and they're just like their comp is like much floatier. But I want to see like what exactly happens here. It's like, but like that's what I'm talking about. Like that's a mistake for the Sombra to die to you, in my opinion. Like I don't understand why she doesn't go away. And like this would be going our way much more consistently if we just play tighter. And we don't necessarily need to like all stand in white room, but like if we have, like D.Va goes to point and we all stand like along this wall, either we're at the top in white room or we're at the bottom. We're taking angles around our D.Va, but we're not like on the other side of a wall from them. We want to be able to like look through each other to help each other. We're not on a dive comp, even though we're on dive characters. Like they are on the better dive comp, so we really can't play it like such. There is nothing for us to dive. Like if she's here and she translocates like down this, like we're not able to chase that. She's just gonna be gone. So you can't dive that. Like again, like I was saying, it's like the echo is like the only thing that is diveable, and like the amount of effort that it would take to like get into that, like you're potentially dying for this, diving the echo like this. Yeah. That's alright. I don't think I've ever seen you guys on this comp, so it's alright that we're playing it wrong. And like I don't know, I don't think I've seen like a good D.Va player in Overwatch 2 like outside of Ben. Not that you're like, I'm not saying that you're a bad D.Va player, just I think D.Va like doesn't really make sense.
You ain't seen my D.Va.
Like you would think like, oh, I'm like, I'm like Monkey, except I like move not as far and I boost her things. But like I don't think that Monkey and D.Va are like the same kind of character in this game. She's more like a Sig or a Reinhardt in my opinion. Like that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like the second that you're like you've got somebody in front of you and someone behind you, is like you die. Like the only way that you like survive that is your teammates like just pump hella resources into you. So like if we're playing for that, if like I'm gonna boost her in and turn them around and then we're gonna like play off of that, fine. But like I don't think that works into this comp. I think we just play tight. We play brawly. Play like like we slow walk our comp into a position and then look for an opportunity to use our cooldowns, rather than using our cooldowns to make an opportunity. Do we have any other thoughts?
What are, I guess, a few main takeaways that we should be going into this week with thinking about?
I mean, just still working on our
Like to summarize.
communication. Like I know that we're working on our communication. Like, otherwise we wouldn't be like having conversations about it. And like I know like we've been working on our fight planning. Like I think we're doing a good job of working on the fight planning and the troubleshooting. We just the thing now is like getting better about listening and communicating. I think getting stable is like really important. I think that's something that's it doesn't have to just be like go go go. Like it could be like you take a second like in between fights to kind of be like we're just gonna like stop and do nothing for a second and figure out what we're doing next. And even times like in between fights, or not in between, like during fights, where like you got to kill. You've got like a couple of seconds where it's like I can take a breath here and like heal up, and we figure out what we're doing next. Um, I think getting stable is like could be a focus for this week. Because going back to what I mentioned on Kings Row, of like me personally, I would rather fight from like a weak position when I'm strong than fighting from a strong position when I'm weak. And it's like the way that you achieve that is like being stable, right? Getting stable, like taking damage, force cooldowns out of them. Maybe you got to kill. That's where it's like you back up into a position where it's like, yeah, it's like a small room. We have like no sight lines, but like, hey, we're full health. I'd rather see that than I'm like 1 HP and I'm trying to play for the long lane where like all they have to do is like breathe on me and I die. So I think that could be a focus for the week. And then the other thing too of like pressing tab and like knowing, like this is what my comp is. This is what this is where we're weak, right? Like when we have the Moira, it's like there's a way where we play from high ground, but like we all have to be up here. We can't be like split along the high ground doing this. Or like the example of the that point on second point defense on Kings where you went and dove with Trey. It's like either you want Lou to be doing that so that you can heal, or we need to be like going for that sooner or later. Like you can, if we're communicating and we're all aware of it, then we can like our core can back up around the corner and bait them into a position where you guys get to go from behind them. But just like knowing what our comp is and where we're at, and communicating that, like that would be the thing that I would say to focus on.
So we're having Arlicio go with our tracer more often.
You don't have to do that. I think like it makes more sense to have your Lou do that, because your Lou does not provide the same utility that the Moira does to the team. But like you can have your Moira flank because that damage is like going to be more consistent, right? Like if you're on the flank, like your damage is going through, compared to like Shap having to hit shots. But just understanding that like if you're on the flank, then your team is not getting your 80 heals a second, like 50 whatever lingering heal. So we have to play for that if that's what you do. And so then the flip side is like, if it's going to be hard to play for the fact that we're not getting our Moira healing, then maybe we have our Moira healing and we have somebody else go with the Trey, or even have your Trey go alone, and that damage isn't going to come through as consistently, but like at least then we're going to have our full healing on our core, and our Trey is still going to be there to like distract. So like there's ways to alleviate what happened there on second point, but that is like a we want to be thinking about if this then that, what is the like the fallout of decisions that are made.
I think I'm just thinking about like how to work on that synergy, more specifically about Lucio going with DPS. And obviously, it's like Shap and whoever you're playing with has to talk more. Or Shap stares at their feet. and
There's no
walks
simple answers to
around.
that question, and like ideally, it is just you guys talking more and like RGB and chat figuring out like if this is like what you guys want to do. But it comes down to like what is your comp, and what is their comp on what the map type is, because that'll dictate whether that will be a strong position to be on or not. You know what I mean? Like there's no simple like cut and paste answer to that, but the fundamental is they have to communicate it and set up the play, and usually that's in dead time in that staging period, right?
Yeah.
RGB and Shap.
I do like
And
staring
I
at
guess
feet.
all.
Sorry, what? Chat?
Crazy.
Nothing.
But I really don't want to hold anybody longer than they need to. So before any individual based questions, was there any team based questions or thoughts anybody wanted to say before I say a couple of things?
Oh,
Okay, cool. So everybody, please send me your notes via my DMs at this point in time, please and thank you. Friendly reminder: Scrim tomorrow. I've posted. Everybody react, please and thank you. And 101 VODs. This is your only. Reminder for the remaining of this. It is due on Sunday. Thank you, Puffles and Tony, who have completed it so far. Everybody else, I am expecting them to be done before Sunday. And match is Friday default time, so it is a Wednesday, Thursday scrim, Friday's match, just as a friendly reminder. That's all I got. If you've sent me your notes, you can leave the channel if need be, and then anybody who wants to ask Pleb more questions, feel free to stay.
Goodbye.
PP. Hey. Ah, fuck. Oh well. I will see y'all later.
Send me your notes before you leave this channel.
Bro, I was finna go take a shower, bro. All right, give me a second.
Send me your notes before. I'm keeping everybody fucking accountable. Mecca, make sure to send me your notes before you AFK, please and thank you.
Well, for the people that's still in here, if y'all see me online tomorrow, even though I can't attend Scrim, it's for a good purpose.
He's already talked to me about it, so he has the clearing.
Just give me a second.
Are there? Does anybody have
Tony, I
any?
swear to God, if you're writing your notes right now, I'm gonna lose my fucking shit.
No, I'm copying them now.
Okay, just making sure. Sorry, Paul, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just gonna ask if anybody had individual questions, because I do need to go soon.
On. I guess we're good for. I don't know.
I mean, I'll be here tomorrow, so.
Okay, that helps a ton.